Hey, what's up? This is Flex Wheeler with another edition of Flex for Life with my homie Greg. What's up, Greg? How you doing? How was
Merry
your
Christmas.
Christmas?
Merry late Christmas.
Yeah, how was your Christmas?
It was okay. It was nice and quiet. And then my brother conned us all to go into an Indian casino, and I didn't gamble a penny. For those of you who know me, Flex, you know me. That's a major
Yes.
accomplishment.
Yeah. So you're gonna blame that on your ability to buy your next three pair of Jordans, right?
That's exactly right.
Mine was great, man. I had my
Good.
family over. My mother's down for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah, Darius drove down with his daughter Sky, so we got to see her. It was Sky's first time meeting her great grandmother, so that was great. And my daughter Pearl flew in, so yeah, it was nice, man. It was nice.
Auntie Pearl.
Yes, I know, crazy. She's good at it too. She's a good at. She's a
Good.
good at. But today we're gonna talk about something a little different. There's a movement called ageism that's out now, and it's kind of that you versus you, which I agree with. Man, stay in your lane, don't compare yourself to anyone else. You know that old saying, don't try to keep up with the Joneses. That can get you bent up, a little bit. But it's 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 being pushed too far, in my opinion. Um, when a certain voice or entity pushes a certain look, and that look only is a look that everybody's trying to achieve. I think that's wrong. I think, every woman looks different. Every woman has their attributes. But before we even start, with this first, I guess, video of a young lady who's doing that, I was telling Greg before we talked about this topic. I remember, we were just watching some movies from the 50s, and I was thinking how different TV is with women now versus it was then. Back then, you know, forgive my description, but back then, there was these women on TV that they basically looked like an iron board. They had these really tight dresses on. They weren't curvy whatsoever. No gluteus maximus whatsoever. Just, and just their boobs out. And that was it. And that was TV. And I think that like misled women to think that was the desired look. And even go back to like Vogue, the women, on the cover, they were almost anorexic. And now later on, we find out that a lot of them were what they had to do to lose that type of weight. But, there's a limit to everything, right? There's a limit to everything. And I think this ageism is being pushed a little bit too far. And I'll let Greg jump in from there.
Well, yeah, what brought this on was it's the people that we're marketing to now are trying to connect with in our age group, that the Gen X, and people born in the late 60s, early 70s, and earlier, comparing themselves to a bunch of 20-year-olds also, and saying, there is a whole group of social media influencers who have a huge following that are basically saying, I might be 56, but I look 26, or I look better than someone who was in their 20s. And somehow it popped up on my feed, and I mistakenly, forgetting how algorithms work, clicked on a couple of things. And so now basically I'm inundated with, I thought it would be a one person thing, but now it's, I've hit 30 other accounts that are similar, with
Mm.
followings of 500,000 followers each. So the
Mhm.
first one, I mean, we're not trying to throw her under the bus or anything else, but this is the first one that hit my
Probably going to
feed.
help promote her, actually.
Yeah. Her name is Sue. Now, I don't know if this is a European thing either, because I've noticed that the majority of them are from like Germany or France.
Mm.
But you can see she has over 500,000 followers. And if you do a deeper dig, each of her reels gets a crap load of views, like a lot. She gets the viewership. She understands the social media game, if anything at all. But the majority of her videos, she doesn't really do any kind of instruction. How do I maintain this, or what are my beauty practices, or what am I eating, or workouts. The majority of her videos are, I don't even want to say majority, basically all her videos are this.
Jeez.
In the middle of a street. First off, yeah.
Yeah. What is she's 56?
She says she's 56, but in a couple of videos she says 60. So I think there might be, I mean, her comments, I mean, you can see from that there was several, thousands of likes, or how many was it?
3,000.
3,000 likes, 451 comments, but the majority of comments are, you have an attention problem. Please make your mind up how old you are. Um, you need professional help. You're not even close. Eating disorder. And then it goes into, just as many compliments. I love your energy, love your enthusiasm. I love salmon. I've written
Yeah.
here to eat more.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's whatever, you know, however she feels that's a desired look for her. Obviously, she's doing it for a business reason, and she's getting a lot of attention, and even her negative comments goes towards it's another comment. So that's a good thing. But,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, women who look like that, they look anorexic to me. No muscularity whatsoever. And I'm not saying needs to be muscular as far as the world that we come from, but just absolutely no muscularity in her legs, no tone in her legs or arms. Yes, she has a slim waist, and looks like she has a little bit of abs there, but that's yeah, I guess it's preference, and
Yeah.
that's
I mean, on a
absolutely
personal
kind of
note, if she put on
preference.
like a pantsuit that's tailored to her build, she'd probably look amazing in it.
Yeah, yeah,
But again, it's not just women. There are my algorithm also got filled with, in this case, coaches, for the 50-year-old, 6-year-old, so guys our age doing reels with their shirts off, exercising in the gym, saying, how do you get this TRT? Not throwing that out there. Which I'm not I'm not downgrading because we promote TRT.
yeah,
But no, it's becoming a thing, and the ageism part, and I've read a ton of studies to get ready for the show. Um, the negative self comparison that men and women our age are putting themselves through because we're comparing ourselves to 20-year-old kids, is becoming an issue, and it's causing psychological problems. And eating disorders and psychological issues are a component of the overall problem.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Greg, it's always been like that. Women as they get older, um, if they're trying to get in shape, I've always heard this. I'm back to my weight when I weighed in high school, or I'm back to my weight what I weighed in college. But there's a tremendous difference because there's a tremendous difference of muscularity and body fat.
Mhm.
You might be back down to your weight and everything, but that doesn't mean that you're back to your look. And for men, since I've been training, that's always been this case where men who had money chases a physique because they can buy everything else, but they can't buy that body. And guys who have great physiques, they're chasing money. It's human nature almost. I mean, I think because of social media, it's gotten out of control, and I think it's becoming harmful because people are thinking they need to achieve this to be happy. And a lot of times when you achieve those things, you're not happy. So I think social media is playing a great negative to this because, like you said, if you click on anything, your algorithm changes and that's all you're going to see. So it kind of messes with your head. I mean, even myself, I still deal with that. Yeah, what type of car I drive, what
Mhm.
type of car I have, how do I dress when I go out in public, where instead of just being comfortable in my own skin, I'm not, but I don't allow it to cause me to go and do something different and chasing that. I'm just very aware of it, and I'm just competitive like that. I think those things, and you know, even like I've said before, going in the gym now, I'll see younger guys in there getting it in, and I'll get jealous, and that inspire me and kick me in my butt. But I don't go into a position where I put myself in harm's way and start doing things that are out of my character.
Yeah, just I because of the show, and we postponed this one because of the holidays a little bit. I did a little bit deeper dive than I normally would. I don't see. I'm not seeing a whole lot of action from any of these influencers as far as from the comment people. She's not. I don't know what she's selling, um, other than clicks, because she's obviously getting the engagement. So
Hmm.
if that's all she's going for, then she's being successful. But I don't see her giving any tips or workout, regimens or food options or even any products in that sense, not selling any
Yeah,
supplements. So I don't know what her deal is. On the
yeah,
other side of things, I mean, there's not to down belittle what we do, but there's coaches, fitness coaches are a dime a dozen in this world right now.
no kidding.
Um, and honestly, it aside from changing things up a little bit because you're not 26 anymore, so our warm ups are a lot longer than they used to be.
And my
There's really no
workouts.
difference in what we do in the gym versus what we
Yeah,
did 20 years ago. I
yeah,
mean, I got for the first time ever, I got the "you look good for your age" comment. But when they asked me how long I've been working out, basically I told them the first year I started working out seriously, and they were 1 year old at that point. Um,
yeah, yeah,
but no, I mean things have changed a little bit, but as far as the effort and everything else, um, it's still a BMW today is still basically a BMW from 30 years ago. It's just gotten more efficient and nicer looking.
more expensive, a
Yeah,
lot.
that's it.
God dang.
But it's still basically a car, right? So I mean, I'm still
Yeah,
squatting, I'm still bench pressing, I'm still deadlifting, I'm using machines and cables and free
yeah,
weights, and
yeah.
the gist of it hasn't really changed any. It's just I do know I have to warm up longer,
Mm.
and that's
Yeah, I
purely so
mean,
I don't hurt myself.
yeah. I mean, so that's the difference between seeing someone who's stronger, younger, and stronger than you, and you saying, "Hey, I used to be even stronger than that," and putting yourself in harm's way where you're going to put more weight on the bar to appease a complete stranger
Yeah,
who don't even know you. That's what I mean. My cutoff is I'll look at them, it'll inspire me, it'll remind me back when I was at that age and what I was doing, but it doesn't make me put on more weight. No, man. I mean, I'm not gonna, do that. And as far as I see those type of guys who, you know, um, how can I put that? They're pushing that agenda. They're in a higher age, and they're doing videos of showing what their physiques look like. But I'm like, that don't actually, look really good. But then again, I'm brainwashed to this certain look
right.
because I've been in fitness for all my life. So for me, but I guess for a normal person, right, who haven't lived in our lifestyle, I guess that is good looking. Even maybe going back to that one lady that we put up her profile, I guess if you remove all the shows and knowledge and visions that we've seen in our sport, for me, for over 40 something years, then maybe my outlook on people would be different. I would look at her and say, "Oh, she looks great. She looks in great shape." Because again, we're so deep into this that it's really embedded in us. I mean, it's just no way around it. Um, it's kind of like you are what you eat. So that's just the world we live in. And there's a certain desire look that we have or we think that looks good. So, but if you just remove a person who never worked out, who's never been in the gym, maybe those are desirable looks.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm going to pull up another picture of Ronaldo, the soccer player, right, who's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
billionaire. He
yeah.
posted. He just turned 40. He posted a picture of himself, his physique recently.
Yeah.
He just turned 40. Now, there was, when he posted it, they did a news story on this. There was a large number of people saying that is not an ideal body, men and women. Now, I don't know too many guys that wouldn't love at 40 that wouldn't love to look like that
Yeah.
and go to the beach and not be afraid to take their shirts off. Firstly,
Yeah.
secondly, obviously not a bodybuilder picture because he doesn't have the size. He's not good for
Yeah.
that. But for a
Yeah.
soccer player, first
Tremendous
off, he's one of the
athletic.
best
He
soccer
has
players
a
ever lived.
Yeah, he has an amazing athletic look. And
Yeah.
I take that look, right now.
Well, I mean, if you look at that guy, you say, no, that guy's obviously an athlete, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, that's also perception, and I guess everybody has their own views. Like I obviously am attracted to a different type. I'm not attracted to that skinny look. You,
Yeah.
if you know me, you know that this doesn't. It's not working
Right.
right
Right.
there. So I don't know. I mean, it's the biggest part for me though is I guess I have first off I have to give these her and all these other guys their props on developing a niche that they're following using social media algorithms. Because looking at the studies and the things that are consistent about amongst men and women that are getting older, it's diminished self-worth, low self-esteem, anxiety and depression, feelings of irrelevance and loss of purpose, envy and resentment, social isolation. And then on the women's side, even more so, you have insecurity and loss, body image and self objectification, and jealousy and resentment. And that's, I don't know, maybe it's that's something that they could tap into on just about every person out there.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and I'm wondering if that is something. We've never aimed our marketing at that exact aspect of things. We don't try. I mean, part of it is creating a pain point and finding out what's really bothering someone.
Yeah.
But we try to get them around that. I mean, you and I both try to get ourselves around that aspect of comparisons and where we were 20 years ago and who else is out there. I mean, actually, in your genre, I would not compare you in your prime to Samson or Derek because I would have put you ahead of them from an aesthetic point of view, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think Derek walks around at about the same body weight you did at about 5 inches shorter.
How much does he weigh?
That's a good question. I'll look it up while you
Yeah, no,
pontificate on that.
my heaviest was 298. Good God, I was down to 300 pounds. That's crazy. I think he's around 250, 260.
Yep, off season, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of mass
But he's
for
5'6".
for a short guy. That's a hell
Now,
of a
what were
lot.
you? When you got your first Arnold win, you're 5'11".
5'10" and a half, yeah.
Okay, and you were what at that? I mean, you got your pro cards a light heavy, right?
Yeah, I no, I got my pro card as a heavyweight.
Okay,
As a heavyweight, yeah, yeah.
but in that
No,
first
my off
Arnold win,
season, I think back then in early 90s, my off season weight was like 240, 250. And then years, going into it, I got heavier.
now the year you won your first Arnold, though, what were you on stage?
Oh, 216.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with Hadi. He's 5'7", so he's a pound heavier. He's 220 on stage, they said.
That's monstrous. Yeah.
And Derek's 220. So you're lighter than Derek at 6 inches tall, almost 6 inches taller.
I would
And
have
most
been
people still
interesting.
say that 93, it was 93 Arnold.
Yeah.
That physique was just ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what? I argue. I mean, I know a lot of people say that because my condition, but I would wonder in today's judging if they would say the person outsized me, even though I'd be hard pressed to say no one's never outconditioned me, probably other than Ronnie, right? And that's just his hamstrings and glutes. But condition wise, I'd be hard pressed to say I've ever seen anybody in that type of condition. But the
Well,
way they judge now, I think they would not give me the first place not and say that these guys were too too much heavier, too bigger
Well, I
than
mean,
I was, much
if we
bigger.
time warped Ken Flex Wheeler from 1993 to 2026, you would have done classic anyway, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely. And you got to
I
go
was, you
back
would
to
have beaten
that
Ramon.
look,
Sorry, you would
that
have beaten
that
Ramon with that physique.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. But you got to go back at look at the desired looks that were the Miss Olympias back then. You had Frank Zane, who was it was more about shape,
Yeah,
and then you had Arnold who ushered in shape and muscularity. So it kept changing, and it got to the point where muscularity was a higher feature than shape and conditioning. And now I think it just fares more towards the bigger guy who,
you know.
and when I say bigger, I mean not a lot bigger as in taller, but the bigger guy on stage who carries more muscle. And I don't think shape and aesthetics is put at the forefront anymore.
Well,
Hence the reason why I say that look wouldn't win.
right. Well, let's take that for example. And let's go back to 2017, and you're doing your comeback. Um, you were there with guys literally half your age at that point, right? In the backstage, you and Danny. Was Danny in that show?
Danny was in that show, yeah.
Okay, is Danny the same age as you, or is he a little bit younger? Is he
No,
more
he's a
modern?
little younger. He's a little younger. I was the oldest up there.
Okay, so and he must have been the second oldest by at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah.
you feel yourself comparing? I mean, we compare ourselves anyway, right? That's the first thing you do when you get backstage,
Sure,
regardless. But
sure.
was it just physique to physique, or was there an age factor that you put into the calculus?
No, I didn't because I'm just a raw competitor. I don't use as an excuse. I'm like, you knew you were going against guys that were going to be 20 years younger than you. That didn't stop you, so don't freaking get on stage and start. Oh, but I'm so and so age. No, no. It was just physique against physique, and when I we messed up. We came into a lot lighter than we thought we were going to. We thought we
Uh,
were going to be able to fill back out, and I kept coming down in weight, and I couldn't stop it. But it was apparent when I took my clothes off and I looked at the other guys. I was like, oh wow, this is different. And going on stage since 1989 when I won Mr. California, that was the first time not being in a first call out. And I remember thinking
oh
like,
shit,
yeah. And
that's right. Huh?
I remember thinking like, wow, it was like in my mental, it was like all eyes shifted to me while the top five were out there. And I was like, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is different.
That's what it's like.
Yeah, this is different. And then just when I went through my mandatory poses, I wasn't even there. I don't even know what poses I did. I was just like, it was obvious to me that I hadn't been on stage in a long time. I wasn't properly prepared for it, and my emotions took over. Where before I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, I know what I'm going to do. I'm in complete control of my movement and the crowd, being able to make them feel a certain way from poses. Where virtually, I was just like, man, I am just lost up here. And I just ran through poses and walked off. It was just, yeah, it was different. And I remember, Robin Chain, great friend of mine, he was like, before you walk out there, just take a deep breath. When you walk out there, it's going to be different, Flex. I'm like, no, man, I'm used to this. I did this for years. I commanded this stage. He goes, just take a deep breath when you walk out there. It's going to be different. And man, he was so freaking right. Jeez, he was right. Yeah, I was a fish
Yeah,
out of water.
I think this is a good comparison though, because what you're thinking about and how you're perceiving the situation versus everybody else around you. Because as one of the people who are watching, it was more like, "Holy shit, Flex is back on stage. This is awesome." Right?
Yeah,
And you're not
yeah,
seeing it that way because you have a different expectation of how things should go.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And there lies exactly what we're talking about with the women and the older men who have money. It's that perception, because yeah, I mean, I got nothing but praises from everyone, even the guys on stage with me. Like, man, you look great. And I remember Ronnie Coleman's interview afterwards. He's like, man, Flex was shredded. Damn, he did it. He came in great condition. And I remember
Well, you
all
did.
my thoughts, huh?
You did. You just,
Yeah.
like you said, the size might not be there, but you're in condition. We're going to see
And
some
I just
videos of it later.
remember all my thoughts were just 100% negative. I was just beating myself up. So perception overrules reality. And unfortunately, going back to our topic, that there lies a problem. Their perception of what they think they should look like is absolutely their reality now, where it doesn't have to mean that it's true reality. We it's almost like a person who's crazy, but they don't think they're crazy. Their reality rules in their brain,
Hmm.
even though on the outside world, we're looking at you like, no, 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 dude, you're crazy. So, and that's just really what it really boils down to is just that individual placing a thought on how they should look and believe in that thought so much that is actually their reality. I mean, again, no disrespect, but we see people, men and women, walking outside wearing outfits, and we're like, dude, really? Or come on, really? You shouldn't be wearing that. But their projection is that they think they look good, that they shit don't stink, and we're like, how could you have put that on? Look at you.
And
But
notice you didn't bring up age at all. That's just people.
no, just people,
Hmm.
and it doesn't have to do with the topic of age. It's just the same as a guy or girl walking into the gym amongst freaking stud men and women, and they walk in and they thinking like the shit don't stink. Walking around just with the beating their chest and everything, and everybody else looking at them like, dude, you need to ease up. Look who you're around. You're around freaking greatness. It's the same thing. It's that reality. And I think, diving deeper in this conversation, that's what it really boils down to. It's something in their brain, a thought or suggestion that they feed that. And like that old saying, whichever monster you feed is going to grow the fastest.
Yeah.
And then it becomes their reality, their projection changed, the way they dress changed, and there you have it. I mean, even like great speakers, we know that there are people out there who have their talent and their way of putting words together is amazing, but they're off their freaking cuckoo. You know, Even in our cabinet right now, we have that. And you have a large percentage of people who are like, man, what are you talking about, or what is she talking about? In their mind, they think they're freaking above the rim and knowledge and everything else. So I think it just goes back to that human being and what their self-belief is and which monster they're feeding.
Yeah, I know with the one social media account that we brought up, a consistent thing I did find with the comments was these outfits are not appropriate for anyone of any age in any shape. So there's that situation, but doing a deeper dive on the big difference I found between the male influencers that are in that area versus the female ones is that the majority of the female ones that were doing content like hers were divorced, and a good number of them they mention in comments about how their husband left them for a younger woman. Right.
Which possibly triggered them to go over the line with trying to get back in shape to
Yeah.
appease either that husband or appease the new person that they're trying to attract in her life.
Right, because I
So
mean, you can see how her reels were developed, whereas I found a good number of other women that were also in their late 40s, 50s, and one who's 60, she's actually an IFBB pro also. Their age is there. They don't make that a secret because they actually the way that they put their videos together, they're not trying to hide it and then it
yeah,
comes out. But
yeah,
more it's about here's what changes as you age, and this is how I got around those. This is how I planned those things. Yes, your body has changed hormonally, but that doesn't mean you can't still work out kind of stuff. And they put workouts in there. And
mm,
nothing ever comes about comparing them to younger women. And
right,
even one who is a 60-year-old IFBB pro, she puts her contest videos up, but it's in the Masters division. She makes it very well known. She placed first in the Masters 60 plus Worlds in
Yeah. Yeah.
Pittsburgh, which is another Jim Manion show. Way to go, Jim! But
Yeah.
it's I saw the difference. Now on the male side of things, it's again, none of them brought up how they looked when they're younger. None of them, not a single one I saw compared themselves to younger men. Just can you look your best now, kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So that's the main difference. So I guess it's the objectification that we put women through, which is personal to me because I have 3 daughters, obviously. And I'm glad they have the right role model in their mother because she can care less what younger women look like, but she's probably not the best comparison in this respect because she does
Yeah.
look better than most.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just that's a sad thing because I mean, here's the other part. Whatever her ex-husband's issue was going for, I mean, I don't know how much younger, but I know after my divorce, my first marriage, I was in my early 30s, and one of the first women I dated was 22 at that time, and I thought it was weird. I just didn't know her age. She came off as a little bit older. I thought mid to late 20s, which shouldn't be that big an issue, but she was 22. And after that came out, I felt like that was kind of odd. It
Mm.
was, I wondered if people were looking, which they probably weren't because we're both Asian. So I probably looked younger than I did at that time also. But it's weird to me because you don't see a whole lot of that, right? The May June relationships or the May September relationships, whatever they call them, with significantly older male or female and a significantly younger significant other. I mean,
In
I
Europe,
worked
you
with
do.
a guy who was in his 50s at the time, and he would only date women in their early 20s, and I thought that
Yeah.
was psychotic. Something's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. 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 No, I agree. And especially when you have children, I just, that's projected in a lot of movies. And,
Yeah,
I live in Vegas, so you see that a lot. I mean, that's borderline weird, dating someone who could be your daughter's age or your
younger.
daughter's friend or younger. That's just, yeah, I mean, and it again, that's my perception, right? It's my belief, and I'm putting that on that person. But no, that's ugh, dude,
Well,
that's
even going
weird.
the other way with this woman, um, we both know how young men think, right? And 99.999% of them, especially in their early 20s, are not thinking relationship at that point.
No.
And it's a situation where they might want to live out a porn video, but you're not going to be their significant other. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say. So who are you trying to, what are you trying to accomplish at that point?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, well, you know what? I have to say women too now.
Sure.
It's different. Women are a lot different than they were back when I was growing up. I kind of coined it as women have men mentalities where they're not looking for a relationship either. And they're looking at what you can give me, what you can provide for me, not like, are you, like my going to be my significant other for the rest of my life. I grew up with women dating you because they thought that was a high probability, not
Mm,
because what I could give them or what I had to offer or the way I look now. But it's very different now. Women, they date based on how you look, what you can provide them, what's your financial status, you know, um, and are you settled in life? Where before, I think women were more like, are you someone that I could be in love with? Are you someone I can have children with? Are you my forever, relationship? Where I think, well, in my world, the guys were more like that. They weren't thinking relationship. They were just thinking for the moment. I know there's guys out there who are genuine and they're not like I was, highly promiscuous when they were younger. I know there's tremendous amount of men out there. They just weren't around in my area where I grew up at.
well, that's actually another interesting thing that came up in the news was the intimacy with the current Gen Z and younger is lower. Basically, they're saying adults 18 to 27 or 28 are not having as much sex anymore as they used to
That'd be
generationally.
great. Yeah, consider we're both dads and have kids around that age. That'd be great to know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So that it's a weird thing, but I don't know. I mean, I know doing a deep dive into our marketing side of things, we're trying to market towards established professional men for our services and products. Everything that I read that was presented to me was, there's always a sense of there's things I did not accomplish. And it's all more of a physical thing because we're
Yeah,
going towards people who have accomplished themselves professionally and
yeah,
have families, but they've let themselves go personally. So
yeah.
there's always that comparison or that thought that I lost out on something.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I've always said that. That's just the way men are wired. Neil Spruce, incredibly successful. A huge father figure to me. Um, incredibly successful now. But he came from bodybuilding and being a power lifter. And I remember his mansion, and he has a mansion. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, yeah, he goes, man, one day I woke up and I'm looking at myself naked in a mirror, like, geez, these legs used to squat 800 pounds. And I'm like, Dad, really? You still think that? I mean, you got all these successful businesses and wealth and everything, and you still think that? He goes, of course I do. And same for myself. You could almost say someone who's achieved what I have in bodybuilding and been through the health scares that I have, that I would be very complacent and not pushing myself or not thinking like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, I'm still hardwired as an athlete.
Yeah.
I still wake up in the morning. I have my first meal at 5 o'clock. I'm still hardwired that if I don't go to the gym, I'm aware that I need to be in the gym. I'm just hardwired that way, and I don't think that ever change. So it's always, I think, it's going to be a factor for men who achieve greatness in athleticism or financially. They're always going to be, that's the reason why they achieve those things, because they're driven. You get that a lot with professional athletes. They have to find something that's going to drive them the same way sports did, and it's very hard to replace that. You got to find it in business, or
Mhm.
investing in other things, but you have to find something that replaces that. you know um Very well known with boxing. That's where the reason a lot of the great boxers came back. Michael Jordan, the reason why he came back, because you can't replace that feeling, and you're
Twice.
just, yeah, and you're just driven to find that. If you don't find it in some type of business investment, or just being settled in life, you're gonna feel that way.
Well, I remember when we first started working together, I told you I was going to start competing, and you said you're going to fight again because you automatically thought I was going to get back into the fight thing. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I can't fight anymore.
Yeah.
But I had to do something. But that same thing is like you said, Jordan. He baseball didn't work out, so he
Yeah.
came back to the Bulls and did another three-peat, and then he retired. Then he came back again with the Wizards and
Yeah.
made an All-Star game again. And he was never going to be the Jordan of the '90s. Obviously,
Right.
he's things have
Right.
changed. He gotten older, but I've heard the same thing with Magic when he was doing an interview when he got into the business world and they were going over everything. And I don't know. I think he knew, but maybe he's playing coy. But they said, you've been so successful. You made this much money as an NBA Hall of Famer. Do you know how much you made as a businessman in comparison? He's like, no, not really. And they're like, well, would you like to know? And he's like, no, he's just playing along. This was in the late '90s or early 2000s. By that point, he was $800 million as a businessman. That's his take, not what his
Yeah.
company's made.
Yeah.
So he channeled into that. Now Jordan, I mean, he's made way more money as a businessman, not even close,
Yeah.
than he did as a
Yeah.
player. And
So
I think
he's
he has like a
obviously found
NASCAR
out.
team also.
Yeah. He's obviously found out something that drives him, hence the reason why he's that successful. You can almost take it like, you know, movies have coined this a lot. You take a person who's a criminal or a drug dealer who does time in prison, and then they come out of prison and they take that same mentality and apply it towards real businesses and are highly successful. It's just being able to point that bullet in the right direction and being able to fire it at the right target.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, Jordan, they estimate he makes anywhere from 300 to 300 to 350 million per year on Jordans.
That's just Jordan's.
That's just Jordan's. And that's just him putting his name. They put out a, like me, if something comes out, I already have those shoes, but it's a different color.
Yeah, that's you, definitely. We
But
gotta
no,
we gotta
that's
do a video. We gotta do a video on you and your closet of shoes. That'd be
no, we
interesting.
don't, because my wife
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see
we
that.
do.
I have to
Yeah,
pull out the ones I'm hiding.
yeah. But
But so that's yeah, the ageism thing is a real thing, unfortunately. But if we're gonna go that route, you and I obviously recommend working out. And what fills things out better, just even with clothes on, than shoulders?
true.
So we've had a
True.
couple of comments about this, and we've gone back and forth on behind the neck anything, but obviously we both utilize shoulder presses as part of our regimen for that area. Here's the video, and we're going to go back to 2017. The way you look back then, we're going to see those delts and those triceps again. But this is you doing a behind the neck press on a Smith machine.
Yeah. And pretty much this is because I knew I didn't have the muscularity, because before we would do behind the neck on free weight, because I'm using a Smith machine, because I have a little bit more control and my shoulders are all torn up, but it gives me that same control. But I mean, actually, this was like a movement that you had to do back in the days to build shoulders, and that's behind the neck press, which obviously we understand now completely takes your shoulder out of its joint mechanism and natural motion. But man, it built delts back then. It worked
Well, it still does,
mechanic.
because like
Yeah,
you said, abducted, externally rotate is the weak. You're putting your shoulder in the most vulnerable position, and that's why baseball pitchers have so many shoulder issues as they retire in just one side. But I know a lot of people argue if you have really good range of motion and good flexibility, which it looked like you had. I mean, it didn't look. You're making that face because you're tired and you're exerting
yeah,
yourself,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
because your
yeah.
shoulder was in
Oh
pain.
no, 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 no. I've always completely believed in full range of motion. Complete full
Right.
range of motion.
But at the same extent, I know Kevin did those too, right? And he doesn't have any shoulder issues currently.
Not that I know of, but Kevin is one who I know of injuries now that he's had that
Okay,
I didn't know before. He's just one who like hardly ever talked about a lot of his
got
injuries.
it.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, I could think of some older bodybuilders that I don't see having that kind of range of motion. Like I could never see Branch Warren being able to do that
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
have to force it and probably gonna
Yeah.
tear something.
Yeah.
I don't know if Johnny Jackson could have done that,
No, Johnny trained the same way as Branch
right?
did.
I mean, could Ronnie do that? Did he have that kind of range of motion?
I think so. I know he believed in full range. You can see his squats. I mean, he went all
Right.
the
Oh
way to
yeah.
the barrel in those, and I've seen him
But could he
bench
put a
before.
bar behind his neck like that?
I again, I that was back in our time. That was, you had to do that movement. It's just like now pull-ups are kind of gone, where we would do pull-ups.
No.
That would be our first move when we did, and we did pull-ups where we would strap on that chain, and we put 45 plates on there. We'd be doing pull-up sets of it and never got tired. I don't see a lot of people doing that movement anymore, nor do I see a lot of people doing the behind the neck pull downs that
Right.
we had to do back then to build a back.
Hmm. So, I mean, you obviously did those, and you would always, I think that's the same workout almost, but you would do,
Oh
and
yeah.
shout out to the pink atomic shoes, by the way.
Goodness, those are
But
dank.
also, this video wasn't very long, but you did dumbbell presses as well.
Yeah.
And those dumbbells are coming down, they're touching your shoulder in front, so you're going again, full range of
Yeah,
motion.
no,
It's
full
kind of
range of motion. I just in my ignorance, I always just thought that there's muscle fibers at all ranges. If I don't hit all ranges, then there's actual muscle fibers that's not being engaged and are not going to grow. So, no, I just, even like I remember I used to get beat up on by, because I used to bench and I take my neck up and I bring the bar all the way down. And like, oh, that's bad for your shoulders, this, that, and other. Then all these videos came out with Arnold and everybody else. That's the way they bench. It's just the way we benched back then. And you
that
see
was
him back
everybody?
then, huh?
That was everybody doing that or just you?
Well, coming all the way down to the to neck.
Yeah.
I overdid it where I bent my neck back and came down even deeper. But I did that. Chris did that. Rico did that. A lot of people did that back then in the gym, and it was very normal.
Again, maybe again ahead of your time kind of stuff because now they're making cambered bars so you can get lower. So a bar with the bend in it, so you can go even
Yes.
lower and get a deeper stretch. Now, I
Yeah.
see those comments all the time too, still on social media where they said I could feel my shoulder tearing or my pecs tearing. I'm like, well, then you need to work on your range of motion because that just
Yeah.
means you're not
Yeah. Yeah.
flexible.
100%. 100%. It's a lack of range of motion for those people, and it can also be a flexibility thing, but you need to take yourself to that point. Maybe it's not I mean, doing the splits for me back then versus somebody else doing the splits. If they're doing their maximum, you can't compare theirs with mine because I'm doing my maximum, even though it might be lower. They're doing their maximum. I just basically what I'm saying is you need to go to the full maximum range of motion that you have. And that's excusing that you don't have a flexibility or range of motion problem, which I think a lot of people do now, just because of the way they train, they overtrain, they're using weight that's too heavy
Don't
for
stretch.
their development. So yeah, they're going to tear something because it's not actual the range of motion that they're using. It's the weight that they're using is more than the muscularity that they have to use it.
Yeah, because I know I mean, just going off a different area, one of my favorite bicep exercises is a incline bench curl, dumbbell curl. So
Yeah.
you're going into a deeper stretch, and
Yep.
I've heard people tell you're gonna tell you tear your bicep,
Yeah.
you tear your pecs. I'm
Yeah.
like, not if I
Yeah.
have. I'm not pulling 70s first off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
No, I see
it's
that a lot now, and a lot of people I train, just doing the curls, they would stop, and I'm like, no, man, you gotta let that arm come all the way down, almost like bend your wrist back, get that full
yeah,
range of motion because there's bicep fibers down there that you're missing out on and engaging, and you see that a lot where people they'll come halfway and go all the way down. Now I know Ronnie did it that way. He never fully came down on his biceps, but obviously he had some crazy biceps on him. So,
but that's Roddy.
yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. We
that's
can't
again
really use him as an example for anything.
right now. I did a whole video myself on the whole logical fallacy side of things, and just because Ronnie did something, because Ronnie, even when he was dieting, he used barbecue sauce. Not everybody can do that,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
I don't know what that cheese flavored powder that he kept using on everything.
Oh God, yeah, man. Butter butts.
Oh, God, what it's called?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude, that was. I can't find it anymore for like up until like last year, I could always just go to Smith and buy it, and they freaking stopped selling it. And I found it on Amazon, and it's just not the same. I'm like, wait a minute, this just don't taste the same. But God, man, I could not eat my rice or my corn without having my butter buds, man.
Oh, you
Or
too?
Molly McButter. Are you kidding me? I literally traveled the world carrying that in my case. Molly McButter or Butterbuds. Shout out to you guys, man. Bring that back. That was a
There's
crucial part of my dieting. My
I saw a
oatmeal,
YouTuber,
my grits,
butter
my
butts.
oh man, my oatmeal, my grits, my rice. Are you kidding me? My corn. Yeah, man. Jeez. My mouth is freaking saliva, how you say it? Salivating.
Salivate.
Salivating right now, just thinking about it.
Well, I know Ronnie's favorite line was everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to lift this heavy ass weight. I think it's more
Yeah.
about the food. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. I mean, Ronnie was just a freak. I mean,
Yeah.
he had the work ethics, he had the discipline, and he also had the ability to carry just a freaking crap load of muscle and condition. I mean, I remember guest posing for him at his show, and then he guest posed afterwards, and they announced he was 330, and he walked out there with still his glutes right, damn near better than mine was contest stage, and at that point in time, I'm like, I need to leave this dude alone. I don't go and I just understood that. Do not compete against this guy. I'm going to hurt myself doing that. And he even talked about that. I seen a video where he was, they're asking him, did he ever train with any other professional bodybuilders? Like, yeah, Jay used to train with me a lot. He goes, Flex came down one day. He did a couple of sets. He was like, man, it's too hot in here. You going too heavy. I know where you going. I'm out of here. And I did. I was like, it was hot in there.
Oh, that was
It's
his Metroflex gym?
Yeah, and his warm-up weight was like close to my max. So I did mine, and then he just went through the roof with the weight. Like, dude, I'm not chasing. I'm not doing this. You're not gonna hurt my feelings or freaking make me feel less of a man. I'm like, hey man, I'll catch you when you're done. And I got up and walked out.
Well, for me, it'd be that Texas heat in basically a barn, and it didn't look like they have AC there.
Nah, they just had a big fan that was on the ground. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I attribute that to also him just always carrying low water. I mean, he sweats. I mean, I've always known that if you're in a hot environment, man, you're not gonna carry a lot of water because you're gonna sweat a lot. You're gonna replace that, but your body's gonna get acclimated to having low amounts of water. So yeah.
Ah. So we are coming up on January. So the New Year's resolution is going to be at your gym. So let's say that your Smith machine, your free weights, and everything else are not taken. Flex has a alternative for you to get your shoulder presses in.
Yeah, that was a great movement, man.
Now, how'd you come up with this?
Actually, Stan, it was, as I said before, Stan Efferding, it was his whole ideal for me to come back and compete and everything. So we just got together and we just trained every day together and diet and went and ate together and everything. So this was his ideal because we're trying to figure out movements that I can do because my shoulders are already destroyed and I had very limited range of motion where it didn't cause me pain and I knew they were destroyed already. So we were just trying to figure out different things that I could do where I could still get a good range of motion, but it wouldn't put me in that angle of tearing or destroying something.
Yeah, look at the triceps too there.
I know it's crazy. I don't even want to look at that, man. I keep,
Don't do the
I,
ageism thing.
no, I keep thinking like, dude, you can get close to that again, but I'm like, nah, come on, man. It's freaking what 8 shoulder surgeries, later and all that stuff.
You'll
So
need
yeah,
another one too.
yeah, I know. I don't train heavy anymore. I don't do dumbbell flies. I don't do dumbbell press. I just do like, 3 different like shoulder movements and really light rear delt. So I'm like, if I can keep myself away from, having another surgery and going through that, I knock on wood and everything has been quite a few years. This is the longest I've been, and in a long time without having to be in a hospital. So I just want to keep that going.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yes. Please knock on wood. But what the nuance in that statement I want everybody to take into account is that could apply to a 25-year-old who has shoulder issues as well. That
Yeah.
is not an age thing.
Yeah.
So a lot
And
of the
it's just
people
a
out
great
there,
movement. It's a beautiful movement that you can do, regardless whether you have great shoulder damage or not. It's absolutely a great movement to do for frontal press, and it hits your laterals also. Yeah, it's just a great movement. It felt great. If I was stronger, my thought while I was doing it's like, man, if this was back in the days, I'd have 4 or 5 plates on this getting at it. It's just a great, great movement. I suggest if you haven't tried that, go out and try it. You'll actually be stoked on how great that movement feels.
right? I know the majority of you are looking towards it's an aesthetics thing. You want to look better. So yeah, no, definitely. And again, everything we've talked about so far has nothing to do with time of your life that you're at. It's not age related.
Nah,
Because someone in their 20s can have just as many shoulder issues.
of
We
course,
make those modifications.
of course.
So when you hear those influencers talking about age being a component, it is a component, but it doesn't really change anything other than there's some modifications that need to be made. And we
Sure.
need to be 100%. That's, I think, where we're going to be a little bit different with things. We will be 100% upfront with you that to optimize things, the medical side has to be addressed. And unfortunately, a lot of you are going through the process of, I'm getting good training. I've hired a trainer and they're a quality person. Everything makes sense. I'm watching what I eat. I'm getting activity in. I'm active with my kids. I'm not stressed out. So there's obviously, but things are not coming along. There's a medical issue that we would deal with in a different way. And I guess it would be, there's the ticker down at the bottom, Prime Mode MD.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, God rest his soul, Victor Conte, he taught me that um, early in my career that if you're metabolic or your vitamins or minerals are off, you're never going to fully achieve what you can. And it doesn't matter if your training is on, if your
Mm-hmm.
diet is on, if your vitamins and minerals or your hormonal is in balance, you will not get a great response. You can almost have a better response by having all those things intact
Yeah.
and just living your life than a person who's going into the gym because you're not going to get the pure benefits out of that.
And I think if we look at if we take prime examples and not to throw them under the bus, but Barry Bonds, Lance Armstrong, who are older, let's throw the elephant in the room out of the room because they were on stuff. I mean, at least Lance Armstrong has come forward with it because he had to legally. We
Yeah,
know Barry Bonds was on stuff, and it's not because Victor told us anything.
yeah,
Um, but they're older in years. They should have been slowing down. And what do? They set records.
yeah, yeah. You know what? Let me see if I could find it, but it's crazy. I was watching this. Let me see. Netflix. I was watching this um, Netflix series, and it had Billy Bob Thornton in there.
Huh?
And what was it called? If it pulls up, damn, it won't pull it up on my phone. Oh yeah, here it is. No, it doesn't have it on here. It was called Land something, and
Landman?
yes, in that movie, bro, they showed him freaking shooting testosterone and some other hormones. I was like, wait a minute, did I just see that? It was
The
crazy.
character was doing it?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
Yeah, he was injecting himself with testosterone and some other hormones and everything. And I actually rewinded. I'm like, did I just see that? But it's crazy. I mean, even our current, administrator, department is now starting to talk about how it's a necessity and that they need to improve on making it more available for men. I mean, for long periods of time, I've been saying it's a natural phenomenon that's going to happen with you.
mm-hmm.
It's the same as with women going through menopause. This is what men go through, and again, they've done billions of dollars of commercials on educating men that, hey, man, if you feel this certain way and you're in this age category, it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's a hormonal imbalance, and it's nothing you can do other than going and get that hormonal, imbalance checked and leveled back out. So, it's just it's an absolute necessity. The things that you'll go through as far as being depression, your bone density changes, your ability to have, breaking your hip muscles and suicidal thoughts, body fat, and putting on more fat and stuff like that. It's just, and a lot of times men think we can just muscle through it. I'm a man, it's normal. No, it's not normal. Yeah, it's not normal at all. And it needs to be talked about more amongst men to help them to understand that they're not the only one. Us as men, we don't say, I got to go to the bathroom, and a gang of us guys will go to the bathroom together, or women to do that. They talk about those things. They're very, they're very open to other women about those things. Men, we don't. Are you kidding me, dude? And if probably if you weren't that type of guy, if a guy started talking about what problems or his thoughts was, you're looking like, dude, what? You need to shut up, man. I'm not trying to hear none of that, but yeah,
Oh,
it's something that men need to do.
they're doing commercials about it now. So that's the funny part. They're doing commercials about testosterone boosting type supplements. So they no one's regulating those. They know that it's an issue. They know what it's causing, but they won't go towards. They won't pull the trigger on. There is a medical remedy for this
Yeah,
that every doctor can prescribe, and they're just that's the one step that was too far for so long.
yeah. Now they're coming to it. They're
Yeah,
coming to
now it's
grips
turning
with,
around.
yeah, yeah. So
Well,
yeah, face it, if you're a man, you're going to need help uh, in those areas of hormonal imbalance. It's just a natural phenomenon, and if you're wondering, if you're in that category, what's the thing to do to find out, with that website at the bottom, you can just go to that. You can, and then this is all private. You'll be talking to a physician. You can get a blood workup, and he'll come back and he'll show you where your markers are and help you get back to living a healthier lifestyle, a fuller lifestyle. And if you are training, you'll get better gains from that because you'll be more hormonal imbalance. So, even if you're just wondering or curious, hey man, just go get blood work done. I
mhm.
suggest men at our age get blood work done any freaking way. You should be
Yeah,
doing that anyway because there's a number of other things that can pop up as you get older, and you'll just they come about so slowly that you don't really address them. You don't really notice them. It's not like a tear or a pain, like, oh, that hurts. No, it just comes on so slowly that you don't pay attention to it. And then it becomes a natural thing that you think that you just something you need to deal with, and it's not. So I suggest all men, all women, get blood workups if they're
hormones
around.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, if they're around our age.
Yeah, the big difference though for us is that our full spectrum testosterone test or hormonal profile test, it doesn't just give you test for your total testosterone, it also tests for free testosterone, which is actually the one that matters. So you
Right,
can have a total testosterone of 600, which is in the higher normal range or mid normal range, but your free testosterone could be less than 40, it could be at 40% of that. So
right,
really you're at 240 or something.
right, right.
So that's where your issues would come to play. So you go to your normal doctors, you're 600, you're fine, which doctors aren't very well versed in that kind of thing anyway, really, unless they're an
Yeah,
endocrinologist.
right.
And then you're sent off thinking you're fine. I should be fine. So it's something else when it's really not.
Yes, sir. So, hey, first yeah, you need to be aware of the education and ability that your doctor have. And if not, you need to ask. Or again, simply just go to that website at the bottom and you'll be right in the neighborhood that you need to be in to find out what you need to have.
Yep.
So there you have it. Another episode of Flex for Life. Women, men, hopefully we weren't offensive. It was just our perspective on what's going on. It doesn't mean that it's right or it's wrong. It's just our viewpoint. Please like, follow, and share. Thank you. And I want to take this opportunity and wishing you all a very, very happy New Year's. God bless all of you and your families.
Hopefully it's productive.